Yeah, definitely. I mean, this started, and even now, there's even more reasons. Like, a couple years ago, it was all about retirement, and like, you can, if you do this, even just buying one or two houses per year, you get that leverage cash flow growth, that leverage appreciation. In 10 years, you could have financial options open to you that you can't even fathom today. And if you reinvest your cash flow, you can just really, kind of get that income snowball going and replace your salaries.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I'm Kristen, and I'm here with Jim Beavens, who is the owner of Cashflow Engineers. He's a 30-year-old computer engineer that pivoted his retirement savings to real estate, and he's helping others do the same. Thanks for being here, Jim.
It's great to be here. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited.
So let's get into your background, as a computer engineer and when you started kind of dipping your toes into real estate.
Yeah. So as a 25-year engineering veteran, I went through my second divorce, and life had thrown me too many curveballs, and my retirement strategy was just not working. I'd done everything right, put money in my 401k, and then it just got slashed through divorce and just through life. And so there I was in my late 40s, trying to, figure out how to make things work. I was probably going to work into my 60s. And I got turned on to an investing group that focused on turnkey investing, basically, buying turnkey properties, freshly rehabbed houses in out-of-state markets in the South and Midwest that are affordable and actually cash flow. And I'd always been interested in real estate. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad back in, the year 2000, and have actually tried to make real estate work before in my local market. I live on the West Coast, and it's always expensive. And tried to make it work, never really could, was turned on to this methodology, and basically went ahead and went for it, and pivoted a good chunk of my savings and retirement to buying out-of-state rental properties. And once I bought one and saw how easy it was, then in fact, before I closed on that first one, of course, you sign up with these turnkey providers and just get emails every week. And I saw more deals. It's like, oh, there's another one. I actually got my second one under contract. Basically, in a span of about 15 months, I bought 6 properties in 3 different states. And, they cash flowed at the time I bought them about $1,800 a month after fixed expenses, I've mortgage, taxes, insurance, and property management fee. And, now that was a few years ago. And now a few years later, the cash flow has grown, and my mortgage payments stay fixed. And so you kind of get that leverage growth. And so now it's like $2,600 a month. So that has become kind of my retirement strategy of, taking my money and my RSUs and bonuses and those piles of cash that tech companies throw at us, and putting it into buying cash flowing assets.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that you've touched on a lot of different interesting things. I think some people are intimidated by the investing game because maybe they think it's too much work for too little money. But I think you brought up 2 good parts about it where, you've been able to do this in a pretty easy way, a passive way. And you've also been able to compound, over a lot of different properties. Can you talk about, for people who are in these high pressure careers, how this can still be a good way to invest?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Yeah, I mean, it really is ideal for this is for everybody. The turnkey investing model, we're basically buying rehabbed homes that are being sold at retail. If you can think of a fix and flip, an investor that's doing a fix and flip, instead of fixing it up and selling it to homeowners, they're fixing it up and selling it to investors. And so from our perspective, from the investor perspective, it's very attractive because all the work's been done. The rehab's been done. But it's not for everybody because it is capital intensive. It requires a down payment. You're putting 20 or 25% down, requires good credit. And so it really is ideal, though, for people that have basically more investment capital than time. And so as a busy professional, it really appealed to me because I had looked into, how do I make real estate work in my local area? It's like, I either got to do like a big rehab. I need to look for motivated sellers to try to find, good terms and get in with no money down. And that's a whole marketing campaign that's needed. And nothing ever worked over the years. But it's like once you're plugged in and find these providers, then then you just get inventory in your inbox and you basically see one that looks good in an area that you like. And and then you just send an email saying, I want that one. And so the ease is very, just that it's not time intensive at all. So as working a demanding engineering career, it was ideal. And so that's really, it's an attractive model for those busy professionals that, again, have basically more money than time.
Yeah. And how did you go about finding these people that are able to source these deals?
Well, I basically, at the time, I joined an investing group, and that investing group kind of went belly up. It was, a mastermind that I joined, and then what I ended up doing was I actually, I really enjoyed having that group of mastermind and just it kind of like crowdsourcing knowledge. And so I kind of started my own and, and that's where my business Cashflow Engineers came about. But ultimately once you know that this methodology exists, it's actually fairly easy to find a lot of these providers. And in fact, I kind of have like a little like introductory kit to help people get started of, how to search for it and a list of providers and whatnot. But ultimately you can just pick a city, anywhere in the South or Midwest and just Google, city turnkey provider, Kansas City turnkey provider, Detroit turnkey provider, anything like that. And it's they will come up. Now, obviously not all providers are the same and not all areas are the same. And so there's, it's like turnkey investing kind of replaces one set of problems of if you invest locally, you have high prices, high regulation, no cash flow. You can fix those problems by going remote, but now you have a whole new set of problems like, where do I invest? Who do I buy from? And how do I know who's working good? And so, it's a new set of challenges, but those are all solvable challenges. You're not going to be able to solve high prices and high regulation in your local area, but you can do research and figure out, where to invest and who to invest with.
Yeah, I'm curious about how you kind of decided which states to invest in, which areas to invest in, because I think everyone has their own localized market. How did you learn more about that?
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more. and schedule a call with our team today.
Yeah, honestly, in my case, so I got into this during COVID and, when rates were super low and it was just a madhouse. Everybody was buying real estate. And honestly, I just went wherever I could find deals. And so I went into a couple markets that were like a couple hours apart. So I actually made a trip, flew out there, toured the area, toured the other nearby area, got to know some turnkey providers, and bought a couple houses there. And then it became saturated. It became so hard to find of properties. And so I actually got turned on to another turnkey provider inside my investing group where, I actually had to pay to get access to their inventory because it was just so, it was crazy. And so honestly, I wouldn't say I actually have a favorite market. I mean, there's about, in fact, I put together kind of just a market research report of like 12 markets across the South and Midwest that, that I think are all attractive. And I see that all the time when I talk to other investors. There are people that are killing it in cities, in all these states in the South and Midwest. And so it's really just a matter of, where do you want to focus your time? Where do you want to do a deep dive and become intimately familiar with those neighborhoods? So, I definitely have those markets that I'm intimately familiar with. And so that's where I focus my attention. But honestly, I see people killing it in, all sorts of markets that I'm on, that I'm not in. So the opportunities are definitely there. It's just a matter of, in my case, it's like I just got properties wherever I could. And so those are the markets I'm familiar with now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure you kind of build out a good team around you with property managers and all of that.
Exactly. Yeah. And then once you dive into that market, then getting to know the good turnkey providers, property managers, sometimes those are one and the same. A lot of turnkey providers have in-house property management. And then of course, having, I have a few lenders on tap, different lenders that, depending on, there's a couple banks I like. Sometimes banks get kind of not a fan of this methodology. And so there's some mortgage brokers I like. And so, yeah, just having that team available is absolutely key.
Amazing. So tell us more about Cashflow Engineers and kind of the people you work with and maybe some success stories.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, this whole thing started because I went ahead and, like I said, I pivoted the investment capital that I had available to real estate. And once I invested that capital, then I had no more money to do deals. And this started because I, thought, well, let's see if I can find money partners, find some funds, private funds. And so I started sharing my story on LinkedIn and just sharing, hey, I closed on my fifth house. I closed on my sixth house. And if anybody wants to do more deals like this, partner, be a money partner, help fund the deals, reach out to me. Let me know. I heard from all sorts of people. I heard from former coworkers. I heard from some people I didn't know, but nobody was interested in partnering with me. They all told me, what you're doing sounds really cool. Can you show me how to do that? And so there's enough kind of requests for that. I put together a kind of a beta launch. I called it the 6 weeks of Cashflow Challenge. And I said, basically, had people come in and we met once a week for 6 weeks. And basically I did a brain dump of like, here's everything to get an out-of-state rental property under contract. And we literally went over financing, finding, analyzing, managing, protecting, and closing. Those are the 6 modules. And the first student got his property under contract in like week 3 or 4. And then I had about 15 people in that first group, and 3 or 4 of them like had a property under contract before it was over. And then I'd say about 10 of them over the next several months ended up getting one under contract. And then those people went on to continue. One student ended up getting like 5 properties in about 8 months. Another student got 4 properties in like 6 months. Just about a year ago, there was somebody who came in, he like broke the record. He like got his first property under contract after just 2 weeks after joining. And he ended up getting like 5 properties in just like 3 months, and just like boom, boom, boom.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Biggest success story that it still kind of blows my mind is, one of the people that was in that first group, after he got a couple under his belt, he had a local rental in Oregon that he bought like back in like 2005, like 15 years prior. He'd never refinanced it. So it had a lot of equity. It had really appreciated a lot. And it was cash flowing maybe like $1,000 a month. But when you look at that return on equity, he had like, $500,000 in equity in that thing, just generating $1,000 a month. Well, he basically, when he saw how easy this was, he sold that and did a 1031 exchange. And over the course of, those several months, he lined it all up, but he basically turned that one house. First, he bought 7 properties. But of course, with 1031 rules, you need to maintain like the debt and the equity. And so a few of those properties he had to buy all cash. So he completed the exchange, and then he took those 2 or 3 properties that are all cash, pulled cash out, and bought like 6 more. So he translated that one property into 13 properties and basically quadrupled his cash flow to, nearly like $4,000 a month, I think it was, after fixed expenses. So that example always kind of blows my mind. And it's kind of a, extreme example, but shows what's possible with this methodology.
That's so cool. And you're really helping people, kind of get off of that stock market roller coaster and help people kind of diversify their assets. I mean, I think that's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and this started, and even now there's even more reasons. Like, a couple of years ago, it was all about retirement. And like, you can, if you do this, even just buying 1 or 2 houses per year, you get that leverage cash flow growth, that leverage appreciation. In 10 years, you could have financial options open to you that you can't even fathom today. And, and if you reinvest your cash flow, you can just really, kind of get that income snowball going and replace your salary. So it was all about, a couple of years ago, it's like, wow, this is a great alternative to retirement. But what I'm finding is now, especially in the tech industry, there's a lot of chaos. I mean, there's AI, there's a lot of anxiety and concern about AI, just rewriting job descriptions. And, it's like, even in the roles that I do, it's like, I write front end RTL code for microprocessors. And I look at this and think, I'm not sure AI couldn't do this. And is my tech role even going to exist in 5 years? And so now I've also come to view this as a great way to start implementing a plan B. Like, while you're getting your high income and your RSUs and bonuses, like, start building these personal income streams that can really, boost up your personal income, so you're not relying on just an employer. And so in my own case, when I lost my job early this year, it's like I had that, $2,500 a month that was like provided just it wasn't gonna, support me fully, but it was an awesome soft landing. It's like you took that, you add in unemployment, and I'm like, hey, I can actually be okay for the next 6 months while I really fine tune, what I want to do next and where I want to go. So, I'm finding in this chaotic times that it's just an ideal way to, again, build that plan B. We're all focusing on, everyone's focusing on how can I need to beef up my job skills. Well, don't just beef up your job skills, beef up your income skills as well, so that you're not just relying on that single source of income. So, yeah.
I think that's such an amazing point. And I know that, with everything going on with the market right now, people are very confused. And I think you have a very optimistic look at the market. I'd love for you to share that.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I just feel like this, in the wake of the 2008 crisis and all of those, property values dropped immensely. And what it did is it just fed immense investor interest and demand in real estate. And, this whole turnkey methodology rose up because infrastructure was built up. Investors came in and started buying these properties, and then Wall Street hedge funds kind of looked at this and said, hey, we went in on this, and started approaching some of these providers and was like, we want to buy like 300 houses this year. We want to buy like 1,000 houses over the next 3 years. Can you make that happen? And a lot of these turnkey providers took up the call, and they scaled up their operations, scaled up multiple rehab crews, built up in-house property management. And you've got outfits like this all over the country, and it's created this infrastructure that is super easy for individual investors to plug into, because these providers, they don't care who they sell to. They don't need to sell to just Wall Street. We can plug into this. And it really has created what I feel is kind of the golden era of real estate investing, especially in these markets where you can still buy a $150,000 house that that has $1,350 rent. And, you're going to get that $200 to $300 cash flow after fixed expenses. And then of course the key is and then you can stack that, spread out your risk, grow more doors, and even just getting 5 to 10 houses that gives you that $1,500 to $2,000 to $2,500 a month cash flow, then the portfolio starts sustaining itself and taking care of itself because, it's real estate. Things happen, vacancies and maintenance. You get that baseline cash flows. It really is, it's never been easier. And I also worry that I don't think this opportunity is going to last forever because prices will rise. And, it's inevitable that prices will outpace rents. We've seen that on the West Coast. We've seen that in, fast growing markets. And we kind of have these last bastion of pockets in the South and Midwest where you can still buy and cash flow from day one. And, combined with just the ease of how easy it is to get in there and plug into that, then yeah, I think this is just a fantastic time and it may not, in 10 or 15 or 20 years, I'm not sure this opportunity will be there again.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people waiting for rates to drop to get in the market. And you're kind of saying the opposite. Don't wait for the rates to drop. This is the time right now.
Yeah, definitely. In fact, because what I look back during COVID, during COVID, rates were super low and I was trying to buy properties and it was a pain in the ass. I mean, it's like there were some turnkey providers that they would send their inventory out every day or every week at the same time. And it was like Tuesday at 8 a.m. I would be on there and it's like you had to get an email out to reserve a property within minutes or they were gone. And so my biggest concern is that when rates drop again, that's going to pump up demand and that's going to cause the big boys to get in again. Because what happened is when rates rose, all the big boys got out. Wall Street hedge funds got out. And a lot of people, after engorging themselves on properties, kind of sat out and was like, okay, we're good. But what that did is that increased opportunities for buyers in that turnkey providers offered incentives. They were giving seller concessions. A lot of them started waiving their property management fee for the first year or even 2 years. And so, to try to counteract those higher rates. So it's actually been an awesome environment in terms of the demand and supply. And it's been really easy to find deals the last couple of years. So my biggest concern, I'm actually worried that rates are dropping and they've dropped a little bit. I'm already seeing demand hit. One of my students actually, it took him a few attempts to get a property under contract. We review a deal and it's like, yeah, call him up in the morning and, see if you can reserve it. And it was gone. And we did that 2 or 3 times. And we actually got to the point. It's like, okay, what day does the inventory come out? We need this, it wasn't in the minutes like it was before, but it's like, we need to kind of jump on it. So I'm seeing that demand pick up. And even though a lower rate, okay, I bought during COVID, I got a low rate and it's that probably increased my cash flow, maybe $100 a month compared as if I were to buy now, which is nice, but it doesn't really move the needle. And what I saw during COVID was people that had bought houses 2 or 3 years prior and already owned properties. They just sat back, watched their values rise, and then just calmly refinanced and pulled money out, pulled 15 grand, 20 grand, 25 grand at a lower rate, and which made their monthly payment almost basically the same, sometimes even less. And it's basically free money, And so that's why I am so excited about this market we've been in the last couple of years. It's like buy now, load up now. And then when rates drop, now you're in a position to benefit from that and reap the benefits. Whereas if you wait for rates to drop, you're going to be fighting with everybody else and, fighting with, rising prices and trying to outbid others. And so, yeah, that's actually, I'm not looking forward to rates dropping. And in fact, I hope they kind of stay high for a little while longer so that me and my students can buy more properties.
Well, that's amazing. I think you've given such good inspiration for people, maybe who are in W-2 jobs, to expand their portfolio like you have. Tell us where to find you and how to get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. The best place to find me is on LinkedIn. And you can go to my LinkedIn profile, just look up Jim Beavens. It's Heavens with a B, and I'm assuming we'll get a link in there. And there's a link to you can follow me, follow my posts. You can reach out to me. I do have a link to it's a kind of a starter pack. I call it the Turnkey Jumpstart kit that it's a very low barrier to entry. And, a lot of people get intimidated at buying real estate. You've got to do all the vetting and all the research. But before you buy, you have to shop. And shopping's easy. And so it's basically just a toolkit that I put together that allows you to shop. I show you where the deals are, include a property analysis calculator, and include another kind of a planning calculator that's like, okay, given your current savings, how many houses could you buy per year? And what would that do to your passive income? And how does that compare to your retirement? So there's some cool tools in there. So that is, again, there's a link to that on my profile. I also have a YouTube channel. I'm just starting up. It's got 5 videos there now, but you can find me on YouTube at the Cashflow Engineer, or also just look up Jim Beavens.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here, Jim.
My pleasure. This was great. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. I hope that you learned a lot, got a lot of inspiration for your own business and ways that you can, increase your capital. And we will see you back next time. And please reach out to Jim if you have any questions. Okay, bye.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.